seen Russia's playbook in Transnistria, South Ossetia, Abkhazia, and Crimea. So the question is not what Russia will try to do in eastern Ukraine. The question is what we, the international community, will seek to do to prevent yet another frozen conflict in Europe.
When talk turns to America at war, we immediately turn to the Middle East and the battles there which seemingly have no end in sight. But at the same time, attention must be paid to another war that is simmering and perhaps never went away, where a single shot has not yet been fired but is deteriorating and could, at the flip of a switch, plunge the world into a conflagration no one may escape. Let's welcome to MidPoint the research director of the European Leadership Network, co-author of a study on military encounters between America and Russia, Lukasz Kulesa. And also let's welcome the defense columnist and analyst for what translates into English as the New Gazette, a Russian newspaper known for critical and investigative coverage of politics and social affairs in that country, Pavel Felgenhauer. Gentlemen, I thank you both for being here today.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Lukasz, let me begin with you. Russian bombers will now conduct regular patrols. They'll go from the Arctic to the Gulf of Mexico. We also have what is technically the invasion of Ukraine. Are we knee-jerking if we say that we are going right back to the Cold War and that the Russians and Vladimir Putin want this to happen more than anything?
Well, I'm always a little bit skeptical when people are talking about the Cold War because that brings us back to the Cuban Missile Crisis, but also to the later stages when both sides basically knew what's going on. They had the rules of engagement work out. What we are seeing right now is a completely new situation with the annexation of Crimea and the eastern Ukraine civil war and in Russian intervention as a trigger. But we also see a ripple effect all over the place, including the activities of the Russian military and of the Russian security agencies directed towards the NATO countries, including the United States. But this is not a repetition of the Cold War. I'm afraid at the moment that we are trying to learn new rules of a much more dangerous world than it used to be.
Pavel, let me turn to you on this as well. Cold War or just new rules?
No, I believe it's very much back to the old Cold War, and actually many of the leaders on both sides, military and political, are guys who began their career during the Cold War, and they remember the textbook. And this conflict is mostly, again, about spheres of influence and who controls what, at least from the Russian point of view. And Russia is fully committed not to allow Ukraine to move west, to move out from the Russian thumb. And there's a proxy war, because Cold War was actually in some places in Central Europe, but there are always hot wars happening. So the war in Ukraine right now in Donbass is a kind of classical proxy conflict with kind of Ukrainian government troops fighting Russian-backed rebels, but from Moscow it's seen as a confrontation through proxy between the United States and Russia.
Pavel, is this about land, money, or is this just about massive egos that say, we were knuckled under once by the Americans, and damn it, we're going to come back and we're going to bring it right back to where it was before?
Well, it's not that simple. It's a complicated issue. In Moscow, the strategic planning, as in Soviet times during the Cold War, as now, is mostly done by the Russian General Staff of the Armed Forces. That's their supreme command, which has a very big staff and a very massive intelligence service called the GRU. And they have calculated that somewhere after 2530, there's going to be almost inevitably a global war on resources. They believe in the Malthusian trap. They believe that the population of the world is growing, the number of resources is dwindling, and that since Russia has so many resources, other countries, led by the United States, of course, will come and attack Russia to take our natural resources.
Okay, so let me hold you there for 1 second here because we're close to a break. 30 seconds to you, Pavel. Do you see it as that, the inevitable war on resources?
Well, I see that.
Well, hold on one second. Hang on one second. Pavel, I'm sorry. Let me stop you there. Let me go to Lukasz. Lukasz, about 30 seconds. Your reaction to that. Lukasz, can you hear me? Okay, I tell you what, gentlemen, Lukasz, we have a problem with your audio. We're just up against a break right here. I didn't mean to rush you, Pavel, but I want to make sure we get all this in here, and we're always short on time. Hang on, gentlemen, because we're going to take a break and come right back. We'll dive into what, if anything, this current administration can do to melt this current Cold War, and let's bring the nukes into it as well. How far should we expect Putin to take his testing of the world? And at 34 minutes after the hour, two sides testing each other in Ferguson, Missouri, with a possible dangerous outcome.